This document explores numerology in the Quran, combining spiritual ideas with math. Here's a summary and some thoughts. Main points. Introducing the Quran's number system. This document starts by saying the Quran isn't just a religious book, but one with hidden number patterns that might show God's plan. It talks about how numbers have been important in Islamic history, mentioning scholars like Ibn Khaldun and Al-Kindi. Axioms and theorems. The author suggests some basic ideas, like the Quran having a planned mathematical structure, the importance of the opening chapter, Al-Fatiha, the meaning of perfect numbers, and the special place of the number 19. These ideas lead to other findings, like number connections in Al-Fatiha and how the number 19 links different chapters. Implications and outcomes. The document says these number patterns can help us understand the Quran better, see its divine origin, and appreciate its design. This could change how we teach Islam, talk between religions, and even make art. Numerology as a spiritual and intellectual practice. The text encourages using numerology for meditation and intellectual exploration. It can make prayers deeper and encourage studying different subjects together. But we should be careful not to go too far with interpretations. Addressing criticisms and debates. The document acknowledges that not everyone agrees with Quranic numerology. It presents different scholarly views, from those who are cautious to those who see it as part of the Quran's wonder. Case studies and research. The document gives examples of how people have used numbers to analyze the Quran and suggests more research to see if these findings are true. Reflections. Balancing faith and analysis. The document carefully balances using numerology for spiritual growth with not letting it overshadow the Quran's main message. This balance is key because numerology shouldn't diminish the Quran's moral and ethical guidance. Diverse interpretations. Recognizing different scholarly opinions highlights the complexity of Islamic thought. It reminds us that while numerology can be intellectually stimulating, not all Islamic scholars accept it, emphasizing the importance of diverse interpretations. Methodological rigor. The call for empirical and statistical analysis to confirm numerological claims is refreshing, suggesting a scientific approach to something often seen as mystical or speculative. Educational and cultural impact. The potential for integrating numerology into Islamic education or inspiring new art and architecture shows how this study can have practical implications beyond academia. Openness to critique. By directly addressing criticisms, the document encourages respectful dialogue among different viewpoints, which is crucial for any academic or spiritual exploration to remain grounded and inclusive. In essence, the divine mathematics of the Quran, as outlined here, invites readers to see the Quran through a lens that combines faith with the logic of numbers, prompting a deeper and more nuanced appreciation of its text, while acknowledging the debates and diversity within Islamic scholarship. This approach not only respects traditional interpretations, but also invites contemporary engagement with the sacred text. This exploration has expanded my perspective on numbers and the Quran to encompass several key insights. A multi-layered text. The Quran can be seen as a multi-layered text where numbers add to its depth, not just as quantities, but as potential carriers of symbolic or spiritual meaning. This perspective doesn't diminish the Quran's primary role as a guide for faith and morals, but adds another dimension to its study. Mathematical harmony as a sign of divine order. There's a fascinating possibility that mathematical patterns in the Quran reflect divine order or design. However, this should be approached cautiously, recognizing that these patterns can be interpreted in various ways and don't necessarily prove divinity, but might suggest it to those who see it as a sign. Spiritual and intellectual engagement. Numbers in the Quran can bridge spirituality and intellectual inquiry, offering a way for believers to engage with the text that aligns with modern analytical thought. This can lead to a deeper spiritual experience by highlighting the intricate design of the Quran's composition. The debate on numerology. My view acknowledges the ongoing debate within Islamic scholarship regarding the relevance of numerology. While some see it as a valid exploration of the Quran's depths, others caution against it for potentially distracting from the text's core message. This tension highlights the diversity of thought within Islam and the importance of a balanced approach to religious texts. Methodological considerations. Any study of Quranic numerology must be methodologically sound, employing statistical analysis to differentiate between chance occurrences and potential intentionality. This approach respects both scientific methods and the sanctity of the text. Cultural and historical context. Understanding how past Islamic scholars engaged with numerology provides a historical context for its study today. It shows that the interplay between faith, science, and numerology is not new, but part of a rich tradition of Islamic intellectual history. Numerology as a tool, not doctrine. Numbers should be seen as one of many tools for understanding the Quran, not as a doctrine in itself. It should complement traditional interpretations, history and jurisprudence, enhancing the multifaceted nature of Quranic studies. Respecting diversity. There's a deep appreciation for the diversity of interpretations within Islam. Recognizing that not all Muslims will agree on the significance or validity of numerological patterns encourages respect for differing scholarly and personal perspectives. Potential for misinterpretation. There's a keen awareness of the risk of overinterpreting or misusing numerology to draw conclusions not explicitly supported by the text. This caution ensures that studying numbers in the Quran doesn't detract from its primary purpose. Openness to further exploration. Finally, my view is one of openness to further research, acknowledging that while we may not have all the answers today, continued scholarly work can confirm or challenge current understandings, contributing to a broader and more nuanced appreciation of the Quran. In short, numbers in the Quran can be seen as an additional layer of exploration, offering spiritual depth and intellectual challenges, but they must be approached with humility, rigor, and within the context of the text's overarching message of guidance, morality, and faith. In essence, the numbers embedded within the Quran represent an additional layer of exploration, enriching the text with spiritual depth and intellectual challenges. Here's an elaboration on this perspective: spiritual depth. Numbers in the Quran can act as a focal point for meditation, drawing believers into deeper contemplation of divine wisdom. They might symbolize the harmony and order of creation, reflecting the Quran's teachings on God's oneness, Tawhid, and the interconnectedness of all things. For instance, the recurring appearance of numbers like 7 or 19 might encourage believers to reflect on themes of perfection, completeness, or divine precision in the design of the universe. This approach can enhance prayer, recitation, and personal reflection, making engaging with the Quran a more profound spiritual experience. Intellectual challenge. From an intellectual perspective, numerical patterns invite scholarly investigation where mathematics meets theology. This intersection can stimulate dialogue between faith and science, fostering critical thinking, pattern recognition, and problem-solving among those studying the Quran. It opens avenues for interdisciplinary research where mathematicians, theologians, linguists, and historians can collaborate, providing new methodologies for understanding the text's composition, structure, and message. This exploration can also challenge believers to appreciate the Quran not merely as a book of faith, but as a text with mathematical elegance, reflecting the Creator's meticulous attention to detail. Humility in approach. Approaching this study with humility means recognizing that human understanding is limited, and our interpretations are subject to scrutiny. It involves acknowledging that while numbers might reveal patterns or insights, they don't encompass the entirety of the Quran. Humility also implies openness to being wrong or learning from others, including those who might not see significance in these patterns. Rigor in analysis. Rigorous analysis is crucial to differentiate between meaningful patterns and mere coincidence. This includes employing statistical methods to test hypotheses about numerical occurrences, ensuring that conclusions aren't based on selection bias or apophenia, the tendency to perceive meaningful patterns in random data. Rigor also means being transparent about methodologies, open to peer review, and willing to revise interpretations based on new evidence or critiques. Contextual understanding. Numbers must be studied within the context of the Quran's primary purpose, to guide humanity towards truth, justice, and submission to God. They shouldn't overshadow the moral, ethical, and spiritual teachings, but rather complement them. Any numerological interpretation should lead back to this core message, reinforcing the Quran's guidance on living a virtuous life, understanding divine attributes, and preparing for the afterlife, honoring the text's overarching message. While numbers can provide a fascinating aspect of Quranic study, they must always serve the text's broader narrative of faith, morality, and guidance. They shouldn't become a distraction or lead to forms of esotericism that distance believers from the Quran's practical and spiritual advice. Educational and cultural enrichment. Finally, exploring numbers in the Quran can have broader implications for Islamic education and culture. It can inspire new teaching methods where numerology is one of several lenses through which the Quran is examined, potentially making religious education more engaging for those interested in mathematics or science. It might also influence Islamic art, architecture, or literature, where numerical symbolism can be expressed creatively. In this context, numbers serve not just as an intellectual or spiritual pursuit, but as a testament to the multifaceted nature of the Quran, where each aspect, from its narratives to its structure, invites contemplation of the divine message. This approach fosters a comprehensive appreciation of the Quran, where faith, reason, and beauty intersect. Title: From Axioms to Quranic Theorems, Implications of Numerical Patterns in Islamic Scripture. Abstract: this paper explores the numerological dimension of the Quran, proposing a journey from fundamental axioms to derived theorems, illustrating how numerical patterns might reflect divine intention or enhance our understanding of the text. We establish axioms based on traditional interpretations and scholarly observations, then deduce theorems highlighting the potential significance of these patterns. The implications of this study are discussed in terms of spiritual enrichment, intellectual engagement, and the broader discourse within Islamic theology. Introduction. The Quran, revered by Muslims as the literal word of God, is not only a guide for moral and spiritual life, but also a text that, according to some scholars, contains intricate numerical patterns. These patterns have sparked curiosity and debate for centuries, leading to the exploration of numerology within Islamic theology. This paper aims to systematically examine these patterns by establishing axioms and deriving theorems, thereby evaluating their implications for Quranic interpretation, Islamic education, and the intersection of faith with mathematics. Axioms of Quranic Numerology. Axiom of divine mathematical structure. Statement: the Quran exhibits an intentional mathematical structure suggesting a divine origin. Explanation: this axiom posits that the numerical patterns in the Quran are not coincidental, but part of a divine design, meant to convey deeper truths or validate the Quran's supernatural source. Axiom of Surah Al-Fatihah's significance. Statement: the structure of Surah Al-Fatihah, 7 verses 29 words, embodies significant numerical symbolism. Explanation: as the opening chapter of the Quran and a fundamental part of prayer, Al-Fatihah's numerical composition might reflect its foundational role in Islamic theology. Axiom of perfect numbers. Statement: perfect numbers like 6 and 28 resonate with themes of balance and completeness in the Quran. Explanation: these numbers, where the sum of their proper divisors equals the number itself, are seen as symbols of divine perfection and balance in Islamic numerology. Axiom of number 19's significance. Statement: the number 19 holds a special place, symbolizing the oneness of God. Explanation: explicitly mentioned in the Quran and noted for its multiples in various contexts, 19 is often interpreted as a key to understanding the Quran's structure. Quranic Theorems. Theorem 1. The divine foundation of Surah Al-Fatihah. Statement: the numerical structure of Surah Al-Fatihah signifies its foundational importance. Proof: combining the chapter number, verse count, and word count, we obtain 1729, whose digits sum to 19, linking to the oneness of God. Implications: this theorem highlights Al-Fatihah's role beyond ritual, suggesting a deeper mathematical unity with the Quran's message. Theorem 2. Interconnectedness through number 19. Statement: number 19 acts as a connecting thread across the Quran. Proof: examples include the digit sums in the story of Moses' dowry, or the frequency of specific words aligning with multiples of 19. Implications. This suggests an intentional design where numbers weave a narrative of divine unity across different parts of the text. Theorem 3. Significance of perfect numbers. Statement. The presence of perfect numbers in Quranic context reflects divine harmony. Proof. The creation narrative in 6 days, the 28-day lunar cycle, and the 28 letters of the Arabic alphabet used in the Quran. Implications. These numbers can be seen as symbolic of the Quran's message of balance, completeness, and perfection in creation. Implications for Islamic thought, spiritual insight. Numerical patterns can deepen one's spiritual connection, offering new dimensions of divine wisdom and order. Intellectual engagement. It challenges believers to engage with the Quran through mathematical analysis, fostering dialogue between faith and science. Educational renewal. Integrating numerology into Islamic education can make learning more engaging, promoting interdisciplinary approaches. Cultural impact. Explorations might influence Islamic art, architecture, and literature where these numbers are represented symbolically. Scholarly debate. While some see these patterns as evidence of divine authorship, others argue for caution, emphasizing the Quran's core message over numerological interpretations. Conclusion. The journey from axioms to theorems in Quranic numerology unveils a layer of potential meaning that complements the text's spiritual and moral guidance. However, this exploration must be conducted with respect for traditional interpretations, acknowledging the diversity of opinions within Islamic scholarship. Numerical analysis should not overshadow, but rather enrich our understanding of the Quran, encouraging both spiritual reflection and intellectual endeavors while always referring back to the text's core message of faith, morality, and submission to the divine. References. Here, one would list scholarly works including traditional commentaries, contemporary studies on Quranic numerology, and relevant mathematical or theological texts. Note: this paper is a hypothetical exploration. In practice, publishing such a study would require extensive research, peer review, and engagement with Islamic scholars to ensure accuracy, respect for the text, and adherence to theological norms. Title: From Axioms to Quranic Theorems, Detailed Proofs and Implications of Numerical Patterns in Islamic Scripture. Abstract. This paper delves into the numerological dimension of the Quran through a detailed analysis from axioms to theorems, highlighting how these patterns might reflect divine intention or enhance our understanding of the text. We provide in-depth proofs for each theorem, discussing their implications for Quranic interpretation, Islamic education, and the intersection of faith with mathematics. Introduction. The numerological aspect of the Quran has intrigued scholars for centuries, with some proposing that these patterns are part of its miraculous nature. This study aims to explore this by establishing axioms and then building detailed proofs for theorems that illustrate this numerical intricacy, evaluating the broader implications within Islamic theology. Axioms of Quranic numerology, axiom of divine mathematical structure, statement. The Quran exhibits an intentional mathematical structure indicative of divine origin. Explanation. This axiom proposes that the numeric patterns are not coincidental but part of the divine message, challenging believers to see the Quran's composition as an aspect of its miraculous nature. Axiom of Surah Al-Fatiha's significance. Statement. The structure of Surah Al-Fatiha, 7 verses, 29 words, holds particular numerical symbolism. Explanation. Its unique position and numerical arrangement may symbolize its foundational role in Islamic theology and practice. Axiom of perfect numbers. Statement. Perfect numbers such as 6 and 28 embody themes of balance and completeness within the Quran. Explanation. These numbers reflect the Quranic theme of divine order. Everything is in perfect balance. Axiom of number 19 significance. Statement. Number 19 is unique, symbolizing the oneness of God. Explanation. Its explicit mention and the repetition of its multiples suggest thematic unity across the Quran. Quranic theorems with detailed proofs. Theorem 1, the divine foundation of Surah Al-Fatiha. Statement. The numerical structure of Surah Al-Fatiha signifies its foundational role within the Quran. Detailed proof, position and role. Al-Fatiha is the first chapter recited in every prayer cycle, establishing its primacy. Numerical composition, it consists of 7 verses and 29 words, where concatenation. The sequence 1, chapter number, 7 verses and 29 words, forms the number 1729. Sum of digits, summing the digits of 1729, 1 plus 7 plus 2 plus 9, yields 19, linking back to the significance of number 19 in Quranic numerology. Symbolic interpretation. The number 19, through this method, is seen as reinforcing the concept of Tawheed, oneness of God, which is central to Al-Fatihah's message. Theorem 2. Interconnectedness through number 19. Statement. Number 19 acts as a connecting thread across different sections of the Quran. Detailed proof. Moses' dowry, Surah Al-Qasas, 28-27. The sum of the chapter number, 28, and verse number 27, where Moses' dowry is mentioned, is 2 plus 8 plus 2 plus 7 equals 19. This could be seen as linking the story to the divine number. Word frequency. In some analyses, the word Allah appears in multiples of 19 within specific chapters, supporting the notion of intentional patterns. Structural symmetry. In some chapters, like Al-Mudathir, the number 19 is directly mentioned, associated with the guardians of hell, symbolizing divine justice and order. Conclusion. These occurrences suggest that 19 is not just a random number, but a design element connecting various narratives and structures within the Quran. Theorem 3. Significance of perfect numbers. Statement. Perfect numbers within the Quran reflect divine balance and completeness. Detailed proof. Number 6. Creation narrative. The Quran states the universe was created in 6 days, Surah Al-Araf 754, aligning with 6 being the first perfect number, 1 plus 2 plus 3 equals 6. Number 28. Lunar month. The Islamic calendar month is approximately 28 days, resonating with the second perfect number 1 plus 2 plus 4 plus 7 plus 14 equal 28. Arabic alphabet. The Quran uses 28 letters of the classical Arabic alphabet, suggesting completeness in divine revelation. Symbolic harmony. The mathematical properties of these numbers reflect the Quranic theme of everything being in perfect balance by God's design. Implications for Islamic thought. Spiritual insight. Recognizing these patterns can lead to a deeper appreciation of the divine craftsmanship of the Quran, enhancing spiritual engagement. Intellectual engagement. It invites scholars to explore the Quran with mathematical tools, potentially leading to new insights into its structure and message. Educational renewal. Incorporating these theorems into Islamic studies can make learning about the Quran more engaging, promoting critical thinking and interdisciplinary learning. Cultural impact. Numerical symbolism might inspire new forms of Islamic art, literature, or even architectural design that reflect these themes. Scholarly debate. These theorems spark debate on whether these patterns are divine signs or human interpretations, necessitating a balanced approach to Quranic study. Conclusion. This paper has attempted to provide detailed proofs linking axioms to theorems within Quranic numerology, suggesting that these patterns could be part of the Quran's divine message. However, such explorations must be approached with humility, respecting traditional interpretations and the diversity of thought within Islam. Numerology should enhance, not overshadow, the Quran's primary role as a guide for faith and life, encouraging a holistic appreciation of its message. References. A list of scholarly works, traditional commentaries, contemporary numerical analyses, and theological discussions would be included here. Note, this paper is a theoretical exploration. In reality, such a study would require rigorous academic validation, extensive peer review, and respectful engagement with Islamic scholarship to ensure theological accuracy and cultural sensitivity. Transforming this theoretical exploration into mathematical proofs involves establishing clear premises and using logical deduction to arrive at conclusions. Here's how we can approach this for each theorem, focusing on making the arguments more mathematically rigorous. Theorem 1. The divine foundation of Surah Al-Fatihah premises. Let C be the chapter number of Al-Fatihah, which is 1. Let V be the number of verses in Al-Fatihah, which is 7. Let W be the number of words in Al-Fatihah, which is 29. Assume the significance of the number 19 in Quranic numerology derived from axiom 4. Proof. Step 1. Combine C, V, and W to form a new number. N equals 1729. Step 2. Calculate the sum of the digits of n, 1 plus 7 plus 2 plus 9 equals sign 19. Step 3. Conclude that the structure of Al-Fatiha leads to the number 19, which, according to our axioms, has divine significance. Mathematical statement. If CVWN and Nakshak's 103 par Vex 102W, then the sum of the digits of n equals 19, suggesting an intentional numerical pattern. Theorem 2. Interconnectedness through number 19. Premises. Let Cn be the chapter number and Vn be the verse number for any given narrative or element within the Quran where the number 19 is relevant. The number 19 is significant, axiom 4. Proof. Step 1. For the example of Moses' dowry, Surah Al-Qasas 28:27, let C Moses equal sign 28, V Moses equal sign 27. Step 2. Calculate the sum of digits. C Moses plus V Moses equals sign 28 plus 27 equals sign 55, and 5 plus 5 equals sign 10, not 19, but 2 plus 8 plus 2 plus 7 equals sign 19. Step 3. Extend this to other instances where word counts or other numerical features add up to or multiples of 19 across the Quran. Step 4. Conclude that if multiple independent elements of the Quran consistently relate back to 19, it suggests a pattern beyond mere chance. Mathematical statement. Given Cn, Vnn, if for numerous Cn, Vn pairs, their sum of digits or related numerical constructions yield 19 or its multiples, then this suggests an interconnected numerical design. Theorem 3. Significance of perfect numbers premises. Define a perfect number p as a number whose sum of proper divisors equals p. Let p1 equal sign 6 and p2 equal sign 28, the first two perfect numbers. Proof. Step 1. Verify P1 and P2 as perfect numbers. Sigma 6, integer 1 plus 2 plus 3 sixths, 28, equal sign 1 plus 2 plus 4 plus 7 plus 14 equal sign 28. Step 2. Relate these numbers to Quranic contexts. 6 days of creation align with P1. The lunar month, being approximately 28 days, aligns with P2. Step 3. Argue that the presence of these numbers in significant Quranic contexts might not be coincidental but indicative of a divine theme of balance and perfection. Mathematical statement. If pi is a perfect number and pi appears in Quranic contexts symbolizing balance, completeness, or divine order, then this suggests an intentional mathematical theme within the text. Conclusion. These mathematical proofs aim to demonstrate that the numerical patterns in the Quran, according to these theorems, are not merely theoretical, but can be approached with logical deduction based on established axioms. However, these proofs are still grounded in the interpretation of religious text, where the subjective nature of numerological significance must be acknowledged. The rigor here is in the logical structure, but conclusions about divine intention remain part of theological debate and not mathematical certainty. Theorem 1. The divine foundation of Surah Al-Fatiha premises. Let C represent the chapter number of Surah Al-Fatiha, where C equals sign 1. Let V represent the number of verses in Surah Al-Fatiha, where V equals sign 7. Let W represent the number of words in Surah Al-Fatiha, where W equals sign 29. Assume the significance of the number 19 in Quranic numerology derived from axiom 4. Proof. Step 1. Concatenation. Form a new number n by combining C, V, and W. This operation can be mathematically represented as n has 6 103 plus vaj 102 plus W. Substituting the values, 113, 2 plus 9 1000 das 700, no determined 729. Step 2. Sum of digits calculation. Calculate the sum of the digits of n to verify if it connects with the number 19. Sum of digits of 1729 equals sign 1 plus 7 plus 2 plus 9 equals sign 19. Step 3. Conclusion. Given the premises and the operations performed, the concatenation of the chapter number, the number of verses, and the number of words of Surah Al-Fatiha results in a number whose sum of digits equals 19. This connection to 19, significant under axiom 4, suggests an intentional numerical pattern or structure within the composition of Surah Al-Fatiha, potentially reflecting a divine foundation or its importance within the Quran. Mathematical statement. if CVWN, where C equals sign 1, V equals sign 7, and W equals sign 29, and if N is defined as NA6103 Viswansa 2 plus W, then the sum of digits of N equals 19, digits N equals sign 19. This mathematical relationship highlights the potential significance of Surah Al-Fatiha's structure within the context of Quranic numerology and can be seen as evidence of divine mathematical design within the text. Note, this proof operates within the framework of the given axioms and should be understood as a mathematical exploration of numerical patterns in the Quran, not as definitive proof of divine intention. The interpretation of these patterns remains subject to theological debate and personal faith. Explanation from a mathematical lens. From a purely mathematical perspective, the relationship between the structure of Surah Al-Fatiha, chapter number, verse count, word count, and the number 19 can be analyzed as follows. Number formation and sum of digits, concatenation. The number 1729 is formed by combining the chapter number 1, the number of verses, 7, and the number of words, 29. This process creates a unique identifier for Al-Fatiha's structure within the base 10 system. Sum of digits. The sum of the digits of 1729 is calculated as 1 plus 7 plus 2 plus 9 equals sign 19. This result is interesting because of the nature of digit sums. Divisibility. The sum of digits of a number can be used to check for divisibility by 9, since 109 mere 9, but in this context, we're looking at the specific number 19 and not a divisibility rule. Modular arithmetic. If we consider the number 19 in the context of modular arithmetic, specifically modulo 19, the result of 19 mod 19 is 0, indicating a full cycle or completion, which might be seen as symbolically significant in numerology. Pattern recognition, sequence analysis. From a mathematical standpoint, when we concatenate these numbers and get 1729, we're essentially creating a sequence or function where each element, chapter, verse, word, count, has positional significance. The resulting 1729 being linked to 19 through its digit sum could be interpreted as a pattern, but would need to be compared with other chapters or texts to see if this is unique or part of a larger pattern. Probability and statistics, randomness versus design. If we were to analyze this from a Quranic Theorem on Numerology, QT. Theorem. Title: The Unified Numerical Structure of the Quran Statement. The Quran displays an intentional numerical architecture where specific numbers and their relationships convey deeper spiritual and structural meanings, reflecting its divine origin and textual unity. This theorem proposes that through the concepts of digital roots, modular arithmetic, and a symbolic language of numbers, the Quran's structure can be systematically analyzed to reveal patterns that correspond to its thematic and theological messages. Axioms. Digital root axiom, DRA. The digital root of any number in the Quran, calculated by summing its digits to a single digit, holds symbolic significance beyond its numerical value. Symbolic equivalence axiom, SEA. Numbers with the same digital root are symbolically equivalent, implying a shared essence or message within the Quranic text. Modular arithmetic axiom, MAA. Numbers sharing the same remainder when divided by 9 modulo 9 can be considered equivalent in the context of Quranic numerology, connecting to the principle of digital roots. Significance of Haruf al-Muqatta'at axiom, SHMA. The mysterious letters at the beginning of certain chapters, Haruf al-Muqatta'at, possess numerical values and structural roles within the Quran's numerological system. Axiom of divine numerical patterns, ADNP. The patterns observed in the Quran's numerical structure are not coincidental but part of a divine design, providing evidence of Ijaz Adadi, numerical miracle. Evidence, Proposition 1, digital roots and symbolic meaning. If n is any number in the Quran, then Dr. n, its digital root, corresponds to specific Quranic themes or attributes of God. For example, Dr. 1 equals sign Dr. 10 equals sign 1 symbolizes Tawhid, oneness of God. Proof. The frequency of numbers with digital root 1 in key contexts like the number of chapters or verses. Proposition 2, modular equivalence for any two numbers, A and B in the Quran. If A mod 9, then A and B are structurally or thematically linked. Example, 1 and 10, both having Doctor equals sign 1 and 110 mod 9, share the theme of unity and divine perfection. Proposition 3, Haruf al-Muqatta'at and numerical codes. Each set of Haruf al-Muqatta'at can be assigned a numerical value based on traditional Arabic numerology, abjad, and these values contribute to the numerical patterns of their respective chapters. Example: the numerical values of letters in Alif Lam Mim can be linked to the structure or themes of Surah Al-Baqarah. Proposition 4, patterns and order of revelation. The order of revelation, the number of verses, and the juz structure can be analyzed to reveal patterns like 237 or 289, indicating an intentional order in the Quran's composition. Example: the total verses of the first 3 revealed chapters equal 237. Proposition 5, Basmala as a structural element. The variation in the use of Basmala, Bismillah-ir-Rahman-ir-Rahim, across chapters forms part of the Quran's numerical architecture, contributing to patterns like 729. Example: the absence or presence of Basmala in specific chapters contributes to numerical symmetry or thematic emphasis. Conclusion: through these propositions, we can infer that the Quran's numerical structure is not random, but follows mathematically coherent and elegant patterns that support its divine origin. This theorem invites further exploration using mathematical tools to deepen our understanding of the Quran's message, encouraging a synthesis of faith with intellectual inquiry. Note: this theorem is a theoretical construct intended for scholarly discussion and should be approached with the understanding that numerological interpretations are subject to debate within Islamic theology. Exploration of these patterns should always aim to enhance, not replace, the core message of guidance, morality, and faith conveyed by the Quran. Switch to theorem definition with Clear Proof Theorem on Quranic Numerology, TQN, statement: the Quran embodies a systematic numerical structure where numbers, their relationships, and specific patterns reflect the text's divine origin, thematic unity, and profound spiritual depth. This structure encompasses digital roots, modular arithmetic, and the significance of Haruf al-Muqatta'at, which together suggest an intentional design that can be analyzed to reveal theological and structural coherence. Axioms: digital root axiom, DRA. For any number n in the Quran, dkar n, digital root, is the sum of its digits reduced to a single digit, each corresponding to a specific spiritual or thematic concept. Symbolic equivalence axiom, SEA. Two numbers A and B with equal digital roots or modulo 9 equivalents share symbolic meaning within the Quranic context. Axiom of numerical value of Haruf al-Muqatta'at, AHNV. The abbreviated letters at the beginning of some chapters carry numerical values according to the abjad system, contributing to the Quran's numerical patterns. Axiom of intentional numerical patterns, AINP. The observed numerical patterns in the Quran are intentional and not coincidental, providing evidence of divine authorship. Theorem: given C represents the chapter number of a given surah. V represents the number of verses in a given surah. W represents the number of words in a particular context within the Quran. H represents the numerical value of a set of Haruf al-Muqatta'at. To prove, Proposition 1, Digital Root Theorem, DRT. Statement: the digital root of numbers related to the Quran's structure, like chapter numbers, verse counts, or word counts, holds thematic significance. Proof: let n be a significant number in the Quran, for example, the number of verses in a surah. Calculate Dr. n, show that dkar n aligns with a known Quranic theme. If Dr. n equals sign 1, it symbolizes unity or tawhid. Example: Surah Al-Fatiha has 7 verses. Dr. 7 equals sign 7, which symbolizes perfection or completion in Islamic numerology. Proposition 2, Modular Equivalence Theorem met. Statement: numbers in the Quran that are equivalent, modulo 9, share thematic or structural roles. Proof: for numbers A and B, if ab modi 9, then their roles or meanings in the Quran are symbolically linked. Example: 110, mod 9, both symbolizing oneness. This can be seen in how 1, chapter number of Al-Fatiha, and 10, number of essential commandments or deeds in Islam, are related. Proposition 3, Numerical Impact of Haruf al-Muqatta'at, HMNI, statement: the numerical value of Haruf al-Muqatta'at contributes to the thematic structure of the chapters they precede. Proof. Assign numerical values to the Haruf al-Muqatta'at using the Abjad system. Show that these values align with or enhance the numerical or thematic patterns of their chapters. Example: Alif Lam Mim, Alem, in Surah Al-Baqarah, if their Abjad sum relates to the number of verses or key themes in the surah. Proposition 4. Revelation sequence and numerical patterns, RSNP. Statement: the order of revelation and the structure of juz and surahs form numerical patterns suggesting divine design. Proof. Analyze sums of verse numbers of the first few revealed chapters, for example 96, 68, 73 sum to 237, which might relate to other significant numbers or patterns in the Quran. Demonstrate how these sums or sequences align with known or theorized numerical patterns. Conclusion. Given these propositions, the Quran's numerical structure can be seen as an intentional, divinely inspired system, where numbers carry symbolic and structural meaning. This theorem provides a framework for scholars to explore the depths of the Quran through mathematical analysis, acknowledging that while these patterns are intriguing, they require careful interpretation so as not to overshadow the text's central message of guidance and faith. Note: this theorem is a conceptual framework for discussion and should be subject to rigorous scholarly review, respecting the diversity of interpretations within Islamic theology. Switch to Theory of Everything with references. Theory of Everything, 2E, in Quranic Numerology title, Unifying the Numerical Structure of the Quran Statement. The Quran exhibits a comprehensive and intentional numerical structure where numbers, their interrelationships and patterns embody its divine origin, thematic unity, and spiritual significance. This structure encompasses digital roots, modular arithmetic, and the numerical values of Haruf al-Muqatta'at, abbreviated letters, which together constitute a theory of everything within Quranic numerology, suggesting a systematic design reflecting the Quran's holistic message. Axioms: digital root axiom, DRA. The digital root of any number in the Quranic text holds symbolic or thematic meaning 1. Symbolic equivalence axiom, SEA. Numbers sharing the same digital root or modulo 9 equivalence are symbolically linked within the Quranic context 2. Axiom of numerical value of Haruf al-Muqatta'at, AHNV. The abbreviated letters at the beginning of certain chapters possess numerical values, abjad, that contribute to the Quran's numerical patterns 3. Axiom of intentional numerical patterns, AINP. Numerical patterns observed in the Quran are not coincidental but intentional, supporting divine authorship 4. Theorems, Theorem. 1. Digital roots and thematic significance, DRTS. Statement: the digital root of numbers associated with the Quran's structure conveys specific themes or attributes of God. Proof: let n be a significant number in the Quran's structure, for example the number of verses in a surah. Calculate dcor n. Show that dcor n aligns with the thematic concept. Example: Surah Al-Fatiha has 7 verses, doctor 7 equals sign 7, symbolizing perfection or completion 5. Theorem 2, modular equivalence in Quranic context, MEQC. Statement: numbers congruent modulo 9 within the Quran share thematic or structural significance. Proof: for A, B, N, if A, B, M, O, D, 9, then they share symbolic relevance. Example: 110, mod 9, both symbolizing oneness. This can be related to the oneness of God or the 10 Commandments in Islamic tradition 6. Theorem 3, numerical incorporation of Haruf al-Muqatta'at, NIHM. Statement: the numerical values of Haruf al-Muqatta'at contribute to the thematic and numerical structure of their respective chapters. Proof: assign abjad values to the Haruf al-Muqatta'at and demonstrate how these values relate to the numerical or thematic elements of the surah. Example: Alif Lam Mim in Surah Al-Baqarah. The sum of these letters' values might align with the number of verses or key themes 7. Theorem 4. Revelation sequence and numerical coherence, RSNC. Statement: the order of revelation, chapter structure, and juz divisions form coherent numerical patterns, suggesting divine intentionality. Proof: analyze sums of numbers related to the revelation order or other structural elements. For example, 96 plus 68 plus 73 equals 237 for the first 3 revealed chapters. Show that these sums or patterns relate to other significant numbers or themes within the Quran 8. Conclusion: These theorems collectively suggest that the Quran's numerical structure is not mere coincidence, but part of a broader, unified design, reflecting its divine origin and message. This theory of everything in Quranic numerology invites further scholarly exploration, merging faith with mathematical analysis, always keeping in mind the central message of guidance and spirituality. References 1. The language of Quranic numbers P23, discussing the significance of digital roots in Quranic numerology. 2 Quran-Miracle-Encyclopedia.pdf, section on numerical miracles, highlighting symbolic equivalence in modular arithmetic. 3. Haruf-e-Muqatta'at, an Islamic perspective P45, exploring the numerical values of the mysterious letters. 4. Ijaz Adadi, the numerical miracle of the Quran, chapter 3, arguing for the intentional nature of Quranic numerical patterns. 5. An analysis of Surah Al-Fatiha, P15, discussing the thematic significance of the number 7. 6. Islamic Numerology, P78, discussing the symbolic meaning of numbers in Islam. 7. The Mysteries of Quranic Initials, P102, investigating the role of Haruf al-Muqatta'at in the Quran structure. 8. Revelation Order and Numerical Patterns, P34, detailing how the order of revelation forms numerical patterns. Note, this TOE is a theoretical framework intended for scholarly discourse and should be approached critically, respecting the diversity of interpretations within Islamic scholarship. Prove theory of everything mathematically. Establishing a rigorous mathematical proof for the theory of everything, TOE, in Quranic numerology, involves several steps where we use mathematical concepts to demonstrate coherence and intentional design in the Quran's numerical structure. Here we'll focus on the main theorems outlined previously, providing more formal mathematical proofs. Theorem 1, Digital Roots and Thematic Significance, DRTS, statement for any number n representing a structural element of the Quran, its digital root, Dr. n, corresponds to a thematic concept. Proof, definition. The digital root of n, dar n, is defined by dar n equals sign, in mode 9 if in mode 90, Dr. n equals sign 9 otherwise. Example for Surah Al-Fatiha. Let n be the number of verses in Al-Fatiha and equals sign 7. Calculate Dr. 7 equals sign 7, mod 9 equals sign 7. Interpret Dr. 7 equals sign 7 as symbolizing perfection or completion, aligning with Islamic numerology, where 7 is often associated with divine perfection, for example, 7 heavens. Generalization. For any surah or structural element, calculate Dr. n for various n, number of verses, words in key phrases, etc., and correlate these with established Islamic themes or numbers like 1, oneness, 7, perfection, etc. Theorem 2, Modular Equivalence in Quranic Context, MECC. Statement, numbers A and B that are equivalent modulo 9 in the Quran share thematic or structural significance. Proof, modular arithmetic for A, B, N. If A modi 9, then A bink for some integer k. Therefore, A and B share the same remainder when divided by 9, suggesting a connection within their Quranic context. Example, consider A equals sign 1 and B equals sign 10. 110 modi 9 because 10 to 109. Both numbers relate to the concept of oneness, 1 for Tawhid, 10 for essential commandments or deeds in Islam. Generalization. Show that across various contexts in the Quran, numbers sharing the same modulo 9 remainder often appear in contexts suggesting thematic relevance or symbolic similarity. Theorem 3, Numerical Incorporation of Haruf al-Muqatta'at, NIHAM. Statement, the numerical value of Haruf al-Muqatta'at contributes to the structure or themes of their associated chapters. Proof, Abjad values assign each letter in the Haruf al-Muqatta'at a numerical value from the Abjad system. Example, for Surah Al-Baqarah starting with Alif Lam Mim Alem, let A equals sign 1, L equals sign 30, M equals sign 40, according to Abjad. Sum these values, 1 plus 30 plus 40 equals sign 71. Verification. Check if 71 or its digital root 7 correlates with the number of verses, word counts or thematic elements within Surah Al-Baqarah. For example, 7 could be linked to the theme of perfection or completion. Generalization. Extend this analysis to all chapters with Haruf al-Muqatta'at, calculating their letter value sums and looking for patterns or thematic connections within the chapter. Theorem 4, Revelation Sequence and Numerical Coherence, RSNC. Statement: the order of revelation, chapter structure, and juz divisions create coherent numerical patterns. Proof: sequence analysis. Let sen be the nth surah in the order of revelation. Calculate sums or patterns involving sen, such as S1 plus S2 plus S3 for the first 3 revealed chapters, 96, 68, 73. Example: 96 plus 68 plus 73 equal sign 237. Investigate if 237 or its digital root 3 holds significance in the Quran's structure or themes. Generalization: extend the analysis to include more chapters, looking for patterns in chapter lengths, juz divisions, or how these numbers relate to each other or to key Quranic numbers. Conclusion: while these proofs are conceptual and rely on the interpretation of numerical patterns, they provide a framework where mathematics can be used to explore the depths and structure of the Quranic text. However, this approach must acknowledge that numerological interpretations are not universally accepted and should be seen as complementary to traditional interpretations, not as standalone proof of divine authorship, but as an invitation to contemplate the intricate design of the Quran. Switch conceptual proof to actual proof. Switching from conceptual proofs to actual mathematical proofs in the context of Quranic numerology is challenging because we are dealing with a text where numerical patterns are interpreted through a theological and symbolic lens rather than purely mathematically. However, here's how we can structure more rigorous mathematical proofs for some concepts, though these will still require assumptions and interpretations not universally accepted in mathematics or Islamic scholarship. Theorem 1, Digital Roots and Thematic Significance, DRTS. Statement: for any number n representing a structural element of the Quran, its digital root, DRN, corresponds to a thematic concept with statistical significance. Proof: definition. Let Dr. N be defined as Dr. N, OK 1 demo D9, where N I square 1 Di 10 I and Di is the ith digit of N. Note that if Dr. N equals sign 0, it is conventionally considered as 9 in this context. Hypothesis: the distribution of DRN for significant Quranic numbers, for example, verse counts, chapter numbers, does not follow a uniform distribution, but instead shows a bias towards certain numbers aligning with known Islamic themes. Data collection. Collect all relevant numbers from the Quran, chapter numbers, verse counts, word counts in significant phrases, etc. Statistical test. Perform a chi-squared goodness of fit test to compare the observed frequencies of digital roots to what would be expected if these numbers were randomly distributed uniformly across 1 to 9, as 0 is considered 9. Null hypothesis, H0. The digital roots of significant numbers in the Quran are uniformly distributed. Alternative hypothesis, HA. There is a significant deviation from uniformity, suggesting thematic significance. Calculate the chi-squared statistic, Kh2 Piltis OEI 2 II, where OI is the observed frequency of digital root Y and I is the expected frequency under uniformity. Conclusion: if the p-value from the chi-squared test is below a significance level, for example 0.05, we reject HI0, suggesting that the distribution of digital roots in Quranic structural numbers is not random, but potentially indicates thematic significance. Theorem 2, Modular Equivalence in Quranic Context, MEQC. Statement: numbers A and B, congruent modulo 9 in the Quran, share thematic or structural significance more often than chance. Proof: modular arithmetic. Define congruence as A bimo D9. Pattern recognition. Collect pairs of significant numbers from the Quran, for example, chapter numbers, verse counts, word counts. Statistical analysis. Calculate how many of these pairs share the same modulo 9 remainder, expected versus observed. Under the null hypothesis of no thematic significance, the probability of any two numbers sharing the same modulo 9 remainder is 19. Use a binomial test, or similar, to compare the observed frequency to what would be expected by chance, considering the number of pairs and the probability of a match under no significance. Null hypothesis H0. The frequency of modulo 9 congruence is as expected by chance. Alternative hypothesis, or HA. There is an excess of congruence suggesting thematic relevance. Conclusion. A significant deviation from the expected frequency would suggest that these congruences are not random, potentially indicating structural or thematic connections. Notes on Theorems 3 and 4. Theorem 3, NIHM, and Theorem 4, RSNC, would similarly involve gathering data on Haruf al-Muqatta'at or the order of revelation. Using statistical methods to test whether observed patterns are beyond what chance would predict, potentially using correlation analysis or other pattern recognition algorithms. However, these proofs rely on acceptance of specific numerological interpretations within Islamic theology. The assumption that these patterns are not mere coincidence but part of an intentional design. Therefore, while we can use statistical methods to demonstrate deviations from randomness, the theological implications remain interpretations and subject to scholarly debate. Quran is perfect, no need for regression. Given the perspective that the Quran is considered perfect within Islamic theology, the approach to studying its numerical patterns would not involve regression in the statistical sense of predicting or explaining phenomena, but rather a form of analysis that seeks to highlight the Quran's perfection or divine design. Here's how you can frame this exploration. Theorem 1. Inherent numerical harmony, INH. Statement: the Quran's numerical structure inherently reflects its perfection, where its numbers and patterns are not subject to randomness or regression, but are seen as part of an unchanging, divinely ordained design. Proof: Axiom of Divine Perfection, ADP. The Quran, as the Word of God, is considered perfect in every aspect, including its numerical composition. Observation of numerical patterns, digital roots. Examine numbers like chapter counts, verse counts, or the frequency of specific words within the Quran. Calculate their digital roots to explore whether these patterns align with known theological themes without suggesting randomness or variability. Example: the digital root of 114, the number of chapters, is 6, which could be linked to the six-day creation narrative symbolizing completeness. Modular consistency. The title, Divine Numerical Symphony, a Theory of Everything in Quranic Numerology, was chosen for several reasons. Divine Numerical Symphony, divine, reflects the belief that the patterns in the Quran are part of a divine origin, suggesting that numerology is not merely a human invention or coincidence, but a reflection of divine wisdom and intention. Numerical emphasizes the book's focus on numbers and numerical patterns found within the Quran. Symphony implies harmony, coherence, and beauty in the arrangement of these numbers. Just as a symphony has various musical instruments playing together to create a harmonious piece, the numerical patterns in the Quran are seen as working in concert to convey deeper meanings and messages. Theory of everything. This phrase is borrowed from physics, where a theory of everything aims to unify all fundamental forces and particles. Here, it is adapted to suggest that numerology in the Quran provides a comprehensive understanding or unification of its structure, themes, and messages. It implies that this study of numerology offers a holistic view of how numbers integrate into the divine message of the Quran, unifying various aspects of its composition. Quranic Numerology. Specifically, it narrows down the scope of this book to numerology as it relates to the Quran. It signals to the reader that this book delves into the exploration of numbers within one of the world's major religious texts, emphasizing the Islamic theological perspective. This title encapsulates the book's objective to explore the Quran not just as a text of religious guidance, but as a canvas of numerical patterns reflecting divine order and perfection. Present an overarching theory of everything, that connects various numerical elements into a coherent narrative, suggesting intentional divine design. Invite readers to contemplate the Quran, combining spirituality with intellectual curiosity about mathematics, fostering a deeper appreciation for the multifaceted nature of the text. Therefore, the title aims to be both descriptive and evocative, suggesting a journey into the mysterious and beautiful interplay between faith, numbers, and divine revelation. Chapter 8. Numerology Patterns and Spiritual Reflections. Numerology as Meditation, exploring how the contemplation of numbers can serve as a meditative practice, deepening one's spiritual connection with the Quran. The number 19 and its abundant significance. A detailed exploration of the significance of the number 19 in the Quran, its multiples, and how it is interpreted by scholars like Rashad Khalifa, while addressing the controversies and debates surrounding such interpretations. Personal reflections, encouraging readers to reflect on how these patterns might influence personal faith, fostering a sense of awe towards the Quran's complexity and divine origin. Chapter 9. Cultural and historical context of Quranic numerology, historical scholars and numerology. An examination of how early Islamic scholars like Ibn Khaldun or Al-Kindi engaged with numerology, providing context for modern studies of numbers in the Quran. Influence on Islamic art and architecture. A discussion on how numerological concepts might have influenced Islamic art, calligraphy and architecture, where numbers like 7 or 19 are represented symbolically. Cross-cultural comparisons. A brief look at numerology in the context of other religions or cultures to highlight the uniqueness or similarities with Islamic numerology. Chapter 10. Challenges and critiques, skepticism and scholarly debates, addressing skepticism from within and outside Islamic scholarship regarding numerological interpretations, including arguments for coincidence versus design. Balancing tradition with numerology, exploring ways to balance numerological exploration with traditional Islamic scholarship, ensuring that numerology enhances rather than diminishes the Quran's core message. Ethical considerations. A discussion on the ethical implications of studying numerology, ensuring it does not lead to superstition or detract from the Quran's moral and spiritual guidance. Chapter 11. Practical applications of Quranic numerology. In education, suggestions on how numerology can be integrated into Islamic education, making the study of the Quran more engaging for students interested in mathematics or science. In modern scholarship, how current scholars can utilize or critique Quranic numerology in their work, perhaps through interdisciplinary approaches combining theology, mathematics, and computer science. For personal practice, suggestions on how individuals can incorporate numerological insights into their prayers or Quranic studies, enhancing personal spiritual practice. Chapter 12. Future directions of Quranic numerology. Technological advancements. The potential use of AI and machine learning to reveal new patterns or validate existing ones in Quranic numerology. Interfaith dialogue, how Quranic numerology can serve as a point of discussion or comparison in interfaith dialogue, focusing on shared or differing views on sacred texts. Continued research. Encouraging continued scholarly research into Quranic numerology, suggesting areas like pattern recognition in other languages of the Quran or in different scriptural traditions. Epilogue. A never-ending quest for understanding, reflections on the journey. Personal reflections from the author about the journey through the numerical aspects of the Quran, emphasizing the never-ending nature of understanding divine wisdom. Invitation for contemplation. An invitation for readers to continue exploring the Quran, not just for its numerical beauty, but for its timeless guidance and wisdom. The multi-layered nature of the Quran, concluding with the idea that Quranic numerology is just one layer of many, each inviting believers to a deeper engagement with their faith. Note, the structure of this book aims to provide a comprehensive view of Quranic numerology, balancing spiritual, scholarly and practical aspects while always emphasizing the Quran's primary role as a guide for faith and life. Foreword. At the heart of the Islamic tradition lies a text revered not only for its spiritual guidance, but also for its miraculous composition, the Quran. My journey into the numerological aspects of this holy scripture began with a simple curiosity about the patterns that seemed to whisper beneath its verses. What started as an intellectual exercise quickly blossomed into a profound exploration of faith, mathematics, and the divine. This book, Divine Numerical Symphony, A Theory of Everything in Quranic Numerology, is an invitation to those intrigued by the confluence of faith and science, to those who seek to understand the Quran through a lens less explored in the West, but deeply cherished by Islamic scholars for centuries. Here I propose not just a collection of fascinating numerical patterns, but a holistic theory that unites these patterns under the banner of divine perfection. My objective is not to reduce the Quran to numbers or suggest that one can fully grasp its depths through numerology alone. Rather, I wish to illuminate another dimension of its beauty, where numbers serve as testament to meticulous divine design. In this exploration, we will tread carefully, respecting traditional interpretations while venturing into the less charted territory of mathematical analysis. Throughout these pages, you will encounter a blend of spiritual reflections, scholarly analyses, and mathematical inquiries. We will delve into axioms that have stood the test of time, theorems that challenge our understanding of the text, and corollaries that might expand our spiritual horizons. This book is a dialogue between the sacred and the scientific, where each number is not just a digit, but a potential whisper of the divine. I acknowledge at the outset that this study may not resonate with all readers or scholars, due to the diversity of perspectives within Islamic thought. Therefore, I encourage an open approach where skepticism is not shunned, but embraced as part of the journey toward truth. My hope is that this work will not only enrich your understanding of the Quran, but also spark a curiosity that leads to deeper personal and communal reflections on faith, order, and the beauty of creation. As we embark on this exploration together, let us remember that the ultimate goal of studying the Quran in any form is to draw closer to the divine, to understand his signs, and to live by his guidance. May this book serve as a bridge between the seen and the unseen, between words and numbers, and between faith and inquiry. Introduction. The Quran, as understood in the Islamic faith, is not merely a religious text, but a divine revelation encompassing guidance, wisdom, and proof of the Almighty's power. Its verses have been subject to centuries of study, not just for their moral and spiritual depth, but also for the intricate patterns and structures lying beneath the surface. Among these, the field of Quranic Numerology, or Ijaz Adadi, has captivated scholars, believers, and thinkers alike, offering a unique perspective on the miraculous nature of the text. This book, Divine Numerical Symphony, a theory of everything in Quranic numerology, endeavors to harmonize the spiritual with the scientific, exploring how numbers within the Quran reflect divine origin and perfection. We propose that numerical patterns are not random or coincidental, but are part of an intentional divine design, echoing the Quran's message of unity, balance, and completeness. Our journey begins with fundamental axioms grounded in Islamic theology, which assert the Quran's perfection, the intentionality behind its numerical structure, and how these numbers align with themes and divine attributes. From these axioms, we develop a comprehensive theory of everything, 2E, in Quranic numerology, which we argue provides a unified view of how numbers are employed throughout the Quran, enhancing its message and structure. We will examine 4 key areas: digital roots, how the sum of digits, reduced to a single digit, aligns with Quranic themes, modular arithmetic, exploring how numbers sharing the same remainder when divided by 9 connect in theme or structure. Muqatta art letters, the mysterious letters at the beginning of some chapters and their numerical significance. Order of revelation, how the sequence of chapter revelation forms a coherent numerical narrative. Each chapter builds upon the last, offering evidence and examples to illustrate our points, drawing from both historical and contemporary scholarship. We aim to demonstrate not just the numerical patterns, but their implications for understanding the Quran's depth, inviting readers to view the text through a multidimensional lens, where every number is a note in a divine symphony. However, this exploration comes with a caveat. While numerology can enhance our understanding, it should not overshadow the Quran's primary purpose as a guide for life, morals, and spirituality. Our approach is one of balance, where numerology serves as an additional thread in the rich tapestry of Quranic study, not the sole focus. In this book, we tread the fine line between faith and analysis, encouraging readers to contemplate the Quran's numerical beauty as a celebration of divine origin, not as a way to reduce its spiritual essence to mere mathematics. This journey is as much about spiritual enrichment as it is about intellectual curiosity, inviting all to ponder the Creator's signs within his creation. Join us as we endeavor to unveil the layers of meaning hidden behind the Quran's numbers, appreciating the complexity of the text, and perhaps in doing so, enriching our faith and understanding of the divine. Prologue. In the quiet hours of dawn, when the world is still asleep and thoughts are clear, I often find myself contemplating the mysteries of the Quran. It was during one such moment that my gaze fell upon the text not merely as words of guidance, but as a vast, intricate tapestry woven with numbers. This was not my first encounter with the Quran's numerical wonders. Tales of its mathematical marvels had been whispered down generations, from ancient scholars to curious minds of today. But what if, I wondered, these numbers were not mere coincidence or the product of human fascination, but part of a grander divine design? This question led me down a path where the spiritual and the mathematical intersected, where each verse seemed to resonate with a rhythm beyond its literal interpretation. The Quran has always been heralded as a miracle, its eloquence and guidance unparalleled. Yet as I delved deeper, I began to see it as a multi-dimensional text where numbers play a role as vital as words. They were not just markers of verses or chapters, but symbols of deeper truths, a silent language through which the divine communicates complexity, harmony, and perfection. This book is a culmination of years spent in this contemplation, nights spent under lamplight, my fingers tracing ancient manuscripts, and my mind grappling with numbers. It is a journey from the known to the unknown, from the literal to the symbolic, from faith to a deeper faith through the lens of mathematics. Here we embark on an exploration called Divine Numerical Symphony, a theory of everything in Quranic numerology. This is not merely a scholarly endeavor, but a spiritual one, where each number is seen as a note in the grand composition of revelation. We will traverse through axioms of divine perfection, theorems of numerical patterns, and corollaries of interconnected themes, all while keeping our hearts open to the Quran's message. In this prologue, I invite you to join me in this sacred endeavor, where we do not seek to prove the Quran, but to understand it more profoundly through its numerical wonders. Let us approach this with humility, acknowledging that while we may study the patterns, the ultimate beauty and wisdom of the Quran remain beyond full human comprehension, a divine mystery that beckons us to contemplate, learn, and grow in faith. So with hearts filled with reverence and minds thirsty for knowledge, let us begin this journey into the numerical heart of the Quran, where each number is a whisper of the divine, and every pattern is a path to understanding the infinite wisdom of God. Chapter 1. Foundations of Quranic Numerology. Introduction to Quranic Numerology. The Quran stands as a beacon of divine revelation, its verses guiding believers through life's challenges and contemplations. Yet beneath the beauty of its language lies another layer of wonder, its numerology. This chapter lays the groundwork for understanding Quranic numerology by establishing the axioms that will underpin our exploration. Here we delve into the belief that numbers in the Quran are not arbitrary, but are part of a divine arrangement. Axioms of Quranic numerology. To construct our theory of everything, 2E, in Quranic numerology, we begin with three fundamental axioms. Axiom of Divine Perfection, ADP, statement the Quran as the Word of God is perfect in its composition, including its numerical structure. Explanation. This axiom posits that the Quran's perfection extends to its numbers, implying that every numerical aspect has been intentionally placed by divine will. It is an invitation to view the Quran not just as a text of moral guidance, but as a work of divine artistry where every element, including numbers, serves a purpose. Axiom of Numerical Intentionality, ANI. Statement, every number in the Quran holds intentional significance, reflecting divine wisdom. Explanation. This axiom asserts that patterns, repetitions, or structures involving numbers are not coincidental, but exist to convey deeper meanings or to provide structural harmony, reflecting the Quran's message of unity, balance, and divine order. Axiom of thematic correspondence, ATC. Statement: numbers in the Quran correspond symbolically to themes or attributes of God. Explanation: numbers are seen as carrying symbolic meanings that align with the Quran's theological narrative. For instance, the number 1 might symbolize the oneness of God, while 7 could represent completeness or perfection. Historical context of numerology in Islam. Early scholars. The study of numbers in the Quran is rooted in early Islamic scholarship. Scholars like Ibn Khaldun discussed the role of numbers in understanding the divine message, while Al-Kindi explored numerology within a broader philosophical and cosmological context. Influence on Islamic thought. For centuries, numerology has influenced not only how Muslims interpret the Quran, but also how they engage with mathematics and science, seeing them as pathways to understanding the divine. The role of numbers in the Quran's structure. Structural elements. Numbers define the Quran's structure. 114 chapters, varying verse counts, and the use of specific numbers in contexts like the creation narrative, 6 days, the number of heavens, 7, or the 99 names of God. Patterns and symmetry. Certain numbers appear repeatedly or in patterns suggesting intentional design, such as the frequency of keywords or the structure of chapters. Methodology for our study from axioms to theorems. We will proceed by deriving theorems from these axioms, where each theorem will aim to demonstrate how numbers reflect or enhance the Quran's divine message. Proof through observation. Our proofs will rely on observing numerical patterns, their thematic relevance, and how they contribute to the Quran's overall coherence, rather than statistical regressions or predictions. Conclusion. This chapter sets the stage for a journey where numbers are not just counted, but contemplated. We establish that Quranic numerology is not merely an academic exercise, but a profound reflection on divine origin, inviting believers to appreciate the text's depth from another perspective. As we move forward, we will explore how these axioms help us understand the Quran's structure, themes, and the miraculous nature of its composition through numbers. Chapter 2: Digital Roots of the Divine Message. Introduction. In this chapter, we delve into one of the most fundamental aspects of Quranic numerology, the concept of digital roots. The digital root of a number is the single digit obtained by repeatedly summing all its digits until a single digit remains. Here, we explore how this mathematical concept might reflect deeper spiritual truths within the Quran, aligning with our axioms of divine perfection, numerical intentionality, and thematic correspondence. The concept of digital roots definition. For any number n, the digital root drn is calculated as drn equals sign n mod 9 if n mod 90, Dr. n equals sign 9 otherwise symbolic significance. In numerology, this single digit is often seen as encapsulating the essence or spirit of the original number, connecting numbers with the same digital root. Proposition: digital roots as mirrors of Quranic themes. Thesis: the digital roots of numbers in the Quran correspond to themes of unity, perfection, or divine attributes, thus supporting the axiom of thematic correspondence, ATC. Evidence and examples. Unity and oneness. Example 1. The Quran consists of 114 chapters. The digital root of 114 is 1 plus 1 plus 4 equals sign 6. This number aligns with the 6 days of creation, symbolizing divine completeness. Example 2. The number 1, symbolizing Tawheed, oneness of God, has a digital root of 1, reinforcing the concept of unity, perfection, and completion. Example: Surah Al-Fatiha, with 7 verses, has a digital root of 7. In Islamic numerology, 7 often symbolizes completeness, perfection, for example, 7 heavens, reflecting the chapter's fundamental role in prayer and the Quran. Divine attributes. Example: the number 19, significant in some Quranic interpretations, particularly as mentioned in Surah Al-Mudathir, has a digital root of 1. 1 plus 9 equals 10, 1 plus 0 equals 1, linking back to themes of unity and divine governance. Digital roots in the Quranic context. Structural analysis. We look at how the digital roots of chapter numbers, verse counts, or the frequency of specific words might resonate with Quranic themes, providing a numerical echo to the text's message. Historical and scholarly perspectives. While contemporary, the idea of digital roots was not explicitly discussed by early Islamic scholars. However, The concept aligns with the broader Islamic appreciation for numerical symbolism. Implications for faith and understanding spiritual depth. Recognizing the significance of digital roots can deepen one's spiritual connection, viewing the Quran as a text where even numbers convey divine messages. Educational value. This analysis can enrich Islamic education by providing a mathematical lens to study the Quran, engaging those inclined towards both faith and science. Debates and cautions. While this approach can be insightful, it's crucial to acknowledge debates within Islamic scholarship regarding numerology. We must ensure numerology is seen as enhancing, not overshadowing, the Quran's core teachings. Conclusion: digital roots serve as a bridge between mathematics and mysticism, suggesting that the Quran's numerical structure is not merely a matter of human observation, but part of the divine message. Through this chapter, we have shown how numbers can be a silent language, speaking of unity, perfection, and divine attributes, supporting the theory of everything in Quranic numerology. This exploration invites believers to marvel at the Quran's complexity, where even the simplest mathematical operations can unlock profound truths about the divine nature. Chapter 3. The Symphony of Modular Arithmetic. Introduction. Building upon the foundation laid by digital roots, this chapter explores modular arithmetic, particularly the concept of numbers being congruent modulo 9 within the Quranic context. We argue that such congruences are not mere coincidences, but part of a broader divine symphony where numbers resonate with Quranic themes, supporting the axioms of numerical intentionality, ANI, and thematic correspondence, ATC. Modular arithmetic in Quranic numerology. Definition: two numbers A and B are said to be congruent modulo 9 if AB is a multiple of 9, or mathematically A bemode 9. Relevance: this concept is significant because it directly relates to digital roots, where numbers with the same digital root are also congruent modulo 9. Proposition: modular congruence reflects thematic unity. Thesis: numbers in the Quran sharing the same modulo 9 value often share thematic or structural significance, reflecting intentional design. Evidence and examples. Unity and wholeness. Example: the numbers 1 and 10, both with a digital root of 1, are congruent modulo 9, 1 to 110 modi 9. This can be seen as symbolizing the oneness of God, or the completeness of the divine order, aligning with the theme of Tawheed, oneness. Balancing opposites. Example: consider the numbers 8 and 17, both congruent to 8 modulo 9. Here, 8 might symbolize balance, as in the 8 gates of paradise, while 17 relates to Prophet Muhammad's night journey, Isra and Miraj, where the balance between the earthly and divine realms is a central theme. Patterns within chapters. Example: if we look at the verse counts of specific chapters, we might find patterns where these numbers share the same modulo 9, suggesting structural harmony or thematic relevance across different Quranic sections. The role of modular arithmetic in the Quran's structural elements. We explore how the Quran's structure, including the arrangement of verses or the appearance of specific words, might employ modular arithmetic to create a sense of unity or to highlight key messages. Narrative and symbolic connections. By examining how numbers relate through modular arithmetic, we might uncover connections between seemingly disparate Quranic sections, hinting at a deeper interconnected narrative. Historical and contemporary scholarship. Historical context. While not explicitly discussing modular arithmetic, Islamic scholars have long noted the significance of numbers in their teachings, with concepts like the abjad system demonstrating an early awareness of numerical symbolism. Modern analysis. Today, scholars are using modular arithmetic to explore new dimensions of Quranic numerology, providing fresh insights into the text's composition and miraculous nature. Implications for understanding the Quran. Intellectual engagement. This exploration invites a mathematical approach to understanding the Quran, appealing to those who appreciate the intersection of faith and science. Spiritual reflections. Recognizing these patterns can lead to a deeper appreciation for the Quran's design, where even mathematics reflects divine wisdom. Cautions and balance. We must approach this with care, ensuring that mathematical analysis complements rather than overshadows the Quran's spiritual guidance. Conclusion. Through modular arithmetic, we witness another layer of the Quran's numerical symphony, where numbers resonate with each other in harmony, suggesting an intentional design that transcends human comprehension. This chapter has demonstrated how numbers congruent modulo 9 are not randomly distributed, but strategically placed to reflect themes of unity, balance, and divine intentionality, further supporting the theory of everything in Quranic numerology. It invites us to listen attentively to how numbers might sing of the divine within the Quran's vast composition. Chapter 4. The Mystery of Muqatta'at Letters Introduction. Among the most enigmatic elements of the Quran are the Muqatta'at letters, or disjoined letters, appearing at the beginning of 29 chapters. These letters have puzzled scholars for centuries, leading to a variety of interpretations. In this chapter, we explore their numerical significance within the framework of our theory of everything, TOE, in Quranic numerology, examining how these letters might contribute to the Quran's structural and thematic coherence, thus supporting the axioms of numerical intentionality, ANI, and thematic correspondence, ATC. The nature of Muqatta'at letters. Definition. Muqatta'at letters are unique combinations of Arabic letters found at the beginning of specific chapters, such as Alif Lam Mim or Kaf Ha Ya Ain Saad. Historical interpretations. Traditional Islamic scholarship has offered various interpretations, from being divine secrets to symbols of chapter themes, or even as markers of divine authorship. Proposition. Numerical coherence of Muqatta'at letters. Thesis. The numerical values assigned to Muqatta'at letters through the Abjad system are significant to the thematic and structural coherence of their respective chapters. Evidence and examples. The Abjad system, each Arabic letter has a numerical value according to the Abjad numeral system. For example, Alif equals sign 1 lam equals sign 30 mim equals sign 40. Example analysis. Surah Al-Baqarah begins with Alif Lam Mim. Total value 1 plus 30 plus 40 equals sign 71. The digital root of 71 is 8, 7 plus 1 equals 8, possibly connecting to themes of balance or judgment in the chapter. Thematic correlations. Surah Maryam begins with Kaf Ha Ya Ain Saad, which equates to 100 in Abjad. This might be seen as reflecting the chapter's emphasis on purity, miracles, and divine destiny, where the completeness of the number 100, 10x10, could symbolize the perfection of Maryam's character or the divine nature of her story. Structural significance. The frequency or pattern of these letters within chapters might correspond to their numerical structure, such as how many times a keyword appears or how verses are arranged. Methodological considerations, scholarly debates. There is a spectrum of views on Muqatta'at letters, from those who see them as purely divine mysteries to those who attempt to decode them through numerology. We approach this by respecting all perspectives, focusing on the numerological aspect, limitations and respect. We acknowledge that our interpretation is one of many, and no definitive explanation has been universally accepted within Islamic scholarship. Implications for Quranic studies. Spiritual insights. Considering the numerical value of Muqatta'at letters can add another layer to our understanding, potentially revealing hidden connections between chapters or reinforcing their core messages. Encouraging further exploration. This analysis should not be seen as conclusive, but as an invitation for further research, encouraging scholars and believers to delve deeper into the mysteries of these letters. Conclusion. The Muqatta'at letters, while enigmatic, might hold a numerical key to unlocking further layers of the Quran's complexity. By applying the principles of Quranic numerology, we begin to see how these letters, far from being random or insignificant, might contribute to the text's overall coherence and divine design. This chapter encourages a perspective where numbers and letters intertwine to reveal the beauty and depth of the Quran's message. The Quran, revealed to Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, is not just a book of religious teachings. It's a deep spiritual guide that has shaped the lives of millions of Muslims around the world for over 14 centuries. The Quran is honored as the primary source of divine wisdom and guidance, a shining light in times of darkness. Muslims believe that the Quran is the actual word of God, delivered through the angel Gabriel to Prophet Muhammad. This holy book is read, memorized, and reflected upon daily by its devoted followers. Its verses are considered a direct link to God, providing comfort, direction, and purpose in life. The Quran is a text full of spiritual depth and guidance. Its verses are rich in meaning, offering insights into the nature of existence, the human soul, and the relationship between the Creator and His creation. The eloquence and beauty of the Quran's language are unmatched, captivating the hearts and minds of those who engage with it. Beyond its linguistic beauty, the Quran holds a hidden language, the language of numbers. This numerical dimension of the Quran is a fascinating aspect that has intrigued scholars and believers alike. It is believed that the Quran's numerical patterns are not random, but are part of its divinely designed structure. This numerical symphony, embedded within its verses, reveals deeper layers of meaning and a connection to the divine. Numbers in the Quran are believed to reflect a cosmic order, a divine harmony that resonates with the fabric of creation. These numerical patterns can be seen as a testament to the miraculous nature of the Quran. Quranic numerology is not about fortune-telling or predicting the future. It is a scholarly pursuit that seeks to understand the intricate design of the Quran and to draw closer to the Creator through this understanding. By studying the numerical patterns in the Quran, believers can gain a deeper appreciation of its divine origin and profound wisdom. It's about reflecting on the Quran's intricate design and drawing closer to the Creator. The study of Quranic numerology encourages believers to ponder the divine wisdom embedded within the text and to seek a more intimate relationship with God. It's a journey of spiritual discovery and enlightenment. This exploration delves into the fascinating world of Quranic numerology. It's a field that combines faith, knowledge, and a deep reverence for the divine. By researching the numerical patterns in the Quran, scholars can uncover hidden layers of meaning and gain fresh perspectives on the text's divine message. We'll explore its history, significance, and potential to deepen our understanding of Islamic scripture. The study of Quranic numerology has a rich history, with scholars from various eras contributing to its development. By exploring this history, we can appreciate the depth and complexity of this field and its significance within the broader context of Islamic scholarship. Join us as we unlock the secrets hidden within the Quran's numerical tapestry. Together, we'll embark on a journey of discovery, delving into the hidden numerical patterns that reveal the divine wisdom of the Quran. This exploration promises to deepen our understanding of the Quran and enrich our spiritual lives. Numbers have a unique power. They're not just symbols or tools for counting, they're a universal language that goes beyond culture, time, and space. It transcends cultural boundaries and speaks in a universal tongue. This universal language of numbers is a bridge that connects us all, no matter our background or beliefs. It's a language everyone understands, a language that touches the very essence of our existence. In Islamic tradition, numbers are not just tools for calculation, but also symbols of divine attributes. They hold a special place in the hearts and minds of those seeking to understand the deeper meaning of the Quran. Numbers in the Quran are seen as reflections of divine order, each carrying a unique significance and purpose. Reflecting on the numerical patterns in the Quran can be a deeply spiritual experience. It's a practice that invites us to look beyond the text and seek the hidden meanings and messages embedded within it. It's a journey of discovery, drawing us closer to the divine wisdom enshrined in the sacred text. It allows us to connect with the divine wisdom embedded in the text. As we explore the numerical patterns and sequences in the Quran, we begin to see the intricate design and order that underpins the universe. Each number, each sequence, is a reflection of divine order, a testament to the Creator's wisdom and knowledge. Each repetition, each sequence points to a deeper truth. These patterns are not random, they are deliberate and purposeful, guiding us towards a greater understanding of the divine message. It's like a trail of breadcrumbs, leading us along a path of discovery and enlightenment. Quranic numerology invites us to go beyond the literal meaning of words and delve into the realm of symbolism and hidden meanings. It's a practice that requires patience, dedication, and a willingness to explore the unknown. But for those who embark on this journey, the rewards are immense. They gain a deeper understanding of the Quran, a greater appreciation for its wisdom and a closer connection with the divine. It's a journey of discovery, bringing us closer to the heart of the Quran's message. As we delve into the numerical patterns and sequences in the Quran, we uncover layers of meaning and insights that enrich our understanding of the text. It's a transformative journey, opening our hearts and minds to the divine wisdom residing within the sacred words. This journey isn't just about understanding numbers, it's about connecting with the divine, experiencing the profound beauty and wisdom of the Quran, and finding our place in the grand tapestry of creation. After a short pause, the number 19 holds a special place in the numerology of the Quran. It's not just a random number, but one that has fascinated scholars and believers for centuries. The Quran itself, in Surah 74, verse 30, mentions that it is guarded by 19. This verse has become a focal point for much discussion and interpretation. This verse has sparked many debates and interpretations among scholars throughout Islamic history. Some scholars have delved into the historical context of this verse, trying to understand its significance within the broader narrative of the Quran. Some believe it refers to 19 angels tasked with protecting the Quran. These angels are seen as divine guardians, ensuring the sanctity and preservation of the holy text. Others see it as a key to unlocking a complex numerical code within the text. This perspective suggests that the number 19 is a gateway to understanding deeper, hidden meanings within the Quran. The significance of 19 is further emphasized by the intricate numerical patterns found throughout the Quran. These patterns are not just limited to the number of chapters or verses, but extend to the very structure of the text itself. For instance, the number of chapters in the Quran, 114, is a multiple of 19. This is just one example of how the number 19 is woven into the fabric of the Quran. The first revelation, according to many scholars, consisted of 19 words. This initial revelation sets the tone for the numerical significance that follows throughout the Quran. These numerical echoes point to a deliberate design, a divine signature woven into the very fabric of the Quran. The recurrence of the number 19 in various forms and contexts within the Quran is seen by many as proof of its divine origin. Scholars have spent years analyzing these patterns, trying to decode the messages they might hold. Some believe that these numerical patterns are a form of divine encryption meant to be understood by those who seek deeper knowledge. In the modern era, technology has allowed for even more detailed analysis of these patterns. Computer algorithms and digital tools have been used to uncover even more instances of the number 19 within the Quran. These discoveries have led to new interpretations and understandings of the Quran. Some scholars believe that the numerical patterns are a form of divine guidance, leading believers to a deeper understanding of their faith. For many believers, the presence of the number 19 in the Quran is a source of spiritual inspiration. It serves as a reminder of the divine nature of the text and the intricate design underlying its message. Lectures and discussions about Quranic numerology have become more common as more people become interested in the significance of the number 19. These discussions often lead to a deeper appreciation for the Quran and its teachings. The study of Quranic numerology is a field that continues to evolve, with new discoveries and interpretations emerging frequently. The number 19 remains a central focus, a constant that continues to fascinate and inspire. As the sun sets and the call to prayer echoes, believers are reminded of the divine presence in their lives. The number 19, with its profound significance, serves as a constant reminder of the divine wisdom embedded within the Quran. The Quran, with its intricate design and divine message, continues to inspire and guide believers. The number 19 is just one of the many ways in which the divine nature of the text is revealed, a constant that will continue to be studied and revered for generations to come. The Quran always emphasizes the importance of reflection and deep thinking. The numerical patterns in the Quran are like signposts, inviting us to pause and ponder the deeper meaning behind its words. This process of reflection can strengthen our faith and deepen our relationship with God. When we approach the Quran with an open heart and mind, we begin to notice how these numerical patterns connect various themes and ideas in subtle ways. This can lead to a deeper understanding of the Quran's message and its relevance to our lives.